Welcome to another 21 Hats Dashboard, brought to you by our sponsor, The Great Game of Business. I'm Lauren Feldman, and I'm here with Gene Marks. Welcome, Gene.
Hello, Lauren. Good to speak with you.
Great to have you here. Gene, in past years, you've written and we've discussed end-of-year tax moves that business owners can employ kind of right up to the last minute. I started thinking about this because one of the regulars on this podcast mentioned that she has a little more in profits sitting in her bank account right now than she expected, which is a nice problem to have. Sure. But she's looking for things she can do to try to protect those profits. I'm wondering if you have any suggestions. You have written a lot about this in the past.
Yeah, I do have suggestions. My first suggestion is why is she even having this conversation now in December? That's,
She did. I think she was surprised. She didn't know a couple things broke right.
Fair enough, which is fair enough. But I mean, the first thing I just have to make sure that the best type of tax planning strategy is not to plan your taxes for the year in December. You do it, in April or May with your accountant, and then you revisit it in September, and you make sure that you've got, a good plan, because it's only like 20 to 25% of our income, it's like a huge number. So, okay. So there are a few things that we can all do. The first is retirement, right? So, we've got until, for most of us, it's 2.5 months after year end, assuming we follow we have a calendar year end and we do we have a pass through business, which most businesses have. You can put money away to if you have a set plan, a single employer pension plan, or a 401k plan, or an IRA, you've got all of that time after the end of the year to make that contribution. So if you've got extra money left over in your business and you want to put money away into retirement and you're still under the limit to do that, then you can do that, and you can wait, literally until March 15th, to do that. So that way, when you do that, it cuts down on your taxable income. You've basically paid yourself because you put your money in your own, account.
Yep.
And you deferred it.
Great suggestion.
So that's definitely one thing that you can do. A couple other things, just to throw out there. Depending on the business that you have, if between now and the end of the year, you want to buy computer software, hardware, furniture, or equipment for your business, if you buy it and you put it into service by the end of the year, then you can deduct 80% of that cost right off the bat, right up to like $1.1 million. It used to be 100%, but that went down. Next year, it goes down to 60% that you can deduct in the first year, and then you have to amortize it over the life.
Another reason to do it this year, right now.
Right. So you want to be ahead of doing that. Another thing that you can do is you can think about what's called wash sales. Wash sales are really good because if you've got stock that's lost money, and I have Amazon stock that's lost money. Amazon, Lauren. I mean, I bought this. It's Amazon.
You've lost money on Amazon.
Yes.
Huh?
Who loses money? Only me. It's such a dumbass to lose money on Amazon of all places. Anyway, so what you can do, though, is you can sell that stock and take the loss. You can offset the loss against any capital gains you might have had this year, or you can take up to $3,000 of that against your income as a deduction. You wait 30 days and then you buy the stock back. It's called a wash sale. So that way, if you really love a stock and you want to hold it for the long term, but it's underwater, you can quickly just sell it. And as long as the stock doesn't go up significantly over the next 30 days, it's not. Then you've got
which would be painful.
That would suck. I'm not going to lie, but at least that way you can you can take advantage of the loss, take it as a deduction, and then get back into the stock after 30 days. So those are three things you could do now.
Of course, you have to have profits to take advantage of those things.
For all three of those things, that is exactly right. The only thing I'm adding different things here, but if you have excess profits and you've got employees in your business, it's nice to pay out extra bonuses to employees. I'm doing that this year, actually. I'd rather give money to my employees than to the IRS, So, if I know I've got those extra profits, you might want to spread that around. You want to retain people, and, you've got good people, you should, look after them. So it's another thought.
That makes sense. Are there any other twists? Anything else that's new this year or expiring this year that should be top of mind?
So other than the property and equipment deduction going down to 80%, There have been some changes in how you treat research and development expenses, but that's a little bit more obscure, I think, for most of our audience. The big thing that you and I are going to be talking about, Lauren, is really not next year, but it'll be this year, but in 2024, as we get heated up for the election. Taxes are going to be definitely a campaign issue, because there is a bunch of the tax legislation that, passed under the Trump administration that's going to be expiring at the end of 2025. And that is a big, that's going to be a big, point of contention. One of those things that I can just give people some advance notice of is the estate tax exemption is going to be cut in half at the end of 2025. So right now, like in individuals, you're not taxed 40% at the federal level until you hit like about 13 million in assets. So I get that that's a big number, but it drops. It's going to be cut in half after 2025. And I'm warning all of my clients, and I've been talking about this when I speak to groups, Lauren. Everybody that owns a business, and particularly if you're a younger business owner, you need to talk to an estate tax attorney. And the reason why is they will set up a trust for you so you can put all of your assets and your business assets, you still retain control of it, into a trust. And if it's done the right way, any appreciation in the value of your assets from the time you put it in the trust is not taxable for estate taxes. So even if in the future you go above that $6 million exemption that's going to take place after 2025, if you put it into a trust beforehand, you're protected. And that really, really conserves your assets for, your spouse and future generations. So talk to an estate tax attorney now, because that's going to be a big issue when 2025 ends. Have we put our entire audience to sleep at this point? Are they all?
No, I don't think so. That's a great tip that I'm sure they haven't heard too many other places, and that we will probably be talking about more in the coming year.
Yeah. Yeah, you should do it too, Lauren. I don't know if you have an estate plan or if you have a trust set up or whatever for all the 21 Hats assets, but
of course not.
You really should.
And actually, that's related to my next topic, which is I also don't have a CRM. And last week when we spoke about CRM systems, you told me that 21 Hats definitely should have one. Yeah. And I've been thinking about since then. And I'm curious, do you have a recommendation for solopreneurs or micro businesses? Is there something you would suggest?
I'm going to give 3 recommendations if you're a solopreneur. First of all, every good mainstream CRM that's out there, and you can Google around the most popular CRMs for small businesses, they all have free versions or very inexpensive versions for like $10 a month, $12 a month that really has all the features and functionality that any solopreneur or very small business would want to have. But I'm going to give you 3. You align with what you're doing. Are you a Gmail guy or are you a Microsoft guy, Lauren?
Gmail.
Right. Get Copper.
Okay.
Copper. Okay. Copper is I don't sell it. So I'm not a partner or anything. I just, I know it really well. And Copper is built into Gmail and G Suite. So it is, with Google Workspace. So it's like a great CRM for a solopreneur or a very small business and larger business too, by the way, that works real well with Gmail. Now, if any of you guys are listening and you're like an independent, a freelancer, or, a very small business, I really like, and you're a Microsoft person, get Nimble, Nimble. I think Nimble is excellent. It is made by the former guy who did Goldmine software 1,000 years ago, John Ferrara, who I'm a big fan of. And Nimble integrates super well with Office. So it's another go. By the way, there's tons of them that are out there. So I'm just giving you 3 that I like. And then the final one is self-serving. I mean, we sell Zoho. Zoho is excellent. Zoho has a smaller version called Begin, Bigin. It's spelled that way because Zoho
That's pretty clear.
It's an Indian company, and I don't think they know how to spell begin, actually. So they just misspelled it. I'm just kidding. That's not the case. It was probably a racist statement, but they're very nice people. I'm just trying to make a joke. But anyway, so it's Begin, Bigin. It is a lighter version of Zoho, made by the people of Zoho, and it's targeted towards very small businesses and individuals, and that works great with either Microsoft Office or Gmail.
Wow.
And Lauren, I will just say to you, because you're a friend of mine, if you get Begin and you need some help setting it up, or any help whatsoever, you'll call on me and we can provide any help that you want, only at double our normal rates. Okay.
We'll spend a lot of dashboards talking about that, I suspect.
Yeah,
that's a good argument for getting it. Thank you. Next topic. You wrote last week about AI apps for business. You named a couple in particular that you think are worth checking out. The one that really caught my eye was the one for website building, which kind of surprised me. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah. Me too. It's funny because on one of the podcasts I do for the Hartford, I interviewed a couple of executives recently from Wix, which is like a web, a web, commerce platform, and they, but they're not the only game in pants. Squarespace, GoDaddy. I mentioned in this article, it's in Forbes, by the way, called Mixo, Mixo. And you can also, you can Google, AI website builders. Lauren, these companies and these AI-based applications are phenomenal. I mean, it's conversational. So it's like you have a web designer just sitting in front of you, except it's inside your laptop. And you say to it, create a website for me that shows, my headshot. I prefer these color schemes, and I'd like, pages about my company and pages about my products. And here's an uploaded product document. Here's an uploaded description of my company, and then go, and it goes and creates it creates the fucking website. It's unbelievable, Lauren. It just does it. It suggests and then signs you up and creates your domains. It gets you all done. And then once it's created, you then give it instruction. You're like, okay, can you change the color scheme to this? Can you add a page there? Can you add a...
Have you actually done this?
Yeah, I've actually not personally done it. I've watched it being done in front of me by some of these people that have demoed it for me. And it's like, whoa. Now, it's applicable. I see it in two ways. First of all, it's Wix and Squarespace and GoDaddy are great because they offer, all these templates, and a lot of automation for building websites. This will be just very similar to that, but it's just conversational. It's like ChatGPT. You're not choosing different things. You're asking it to do stuff. More importantly, once it then creates it for you, you can have a chat with the tool to make changes and adjustments, and it'll even chat back to you and make suggestions for you, just like you have a web designer. As opposed to going through some page after page, selecting this template, selecting this format, blah 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 blah. This way, you're like chatting back and uploading stuff to it. And by the way, all of these tools, including Mixo, which is like new on the block, they are all in soon, not immediately, but soon they're going to support, voice. So you can talk to it, so you don't even have to be typing this stuff in, I see these website builders being appropriate for two different types of business. I mean, the first are like just, startups and entrepreneurs. They're just getting going. They don't know what they're doing or to set up a website. So, they literally just get in conversation mode and they start asking the questions and making their demands. They can even upload a URL of a website they like and tell it, build it, similar to the design of this website. So it will do that. And I think a lot of startups, entrepreneurs are going to, find that much more user friendly to create their own thing. So that's the first group of people that I see really benefiting from this. And then the second group of people I see are the ones that have multiple websites and multiple landing pages. It's not uncommon for a business to have different product lines and different websites. So they need to quickly start up new ones. And I've got a few clients like that. They start selling something new and they're like, let's have a separate website for this. And then there's landing pages, where people, run Google campaigns, and anybody will tell you that's experienced with online advertising is you need to drive clicks to a landing page so you can track it better. And, you need help setting up that, landing page. These website designers will do it for you in a flash. And you can sit there and, set up a dozen different landing pages for a dozen different, ad campaigns. So I think those tools are going to be used by those two types of businesses the most. Me, not so much, because my websites really don't change that much, and I have just two. But so I think it's exciting. It really is.
That's really interesting. I think to your point, somebody who's got a big e-commerce operation is not going to take this route.
Right.
But it does seem like, businesses of all sizes occasionally just want to try something, and a quick way to just test whether something is going to get any attention, traffic, sales, before investing serious money in it, it might be really handy.
It is really cool. And if I could just give a shout out to just a couple others of these in this Forbes article really quickly, Lauren. One is like,
sure,
these headshot generators are all over the place. And I've played around with a few and they're pretty awesome. I mean, you upload a photo of yourself and like, listen, I upload my photo. I mean, talk about a challenge for any headshot generator to make it look good. And they make you up, they freshen up your look, they put you in different clothes, different backgrounds, different scenes, whatever. I joke around, but like they're super important for people. We all have online presence, and we want a good headshot on our website or our social accounts or on our brochures. And these generators use AI to really take existing photos and make them look that much better. So really a great, and I gave,
or you can just do what most of us do, which is use a photo from when we were 20 years younger.
And I got to change mine. I mean, mine is, I'm guilty of that. Like mine's like 10 years old.
Me too.
And I haven't even changed it. It's not even like an ego thing. It's just, I'm so lazy. Like but I need to do that.
Yeah.
So there's that. The other one is chatbot builders. I gave an example of one called Droxy.ai. And I think it has ChatGPT as its licensed large language model, but Droxy.ai, like you connect it into your data, Lauren, your CRM system, your inventory system, your accounting system, whatever. And then it learns and trains on that data. And then your employees can ask questions like, right to the chat bot about any of the information. What customer did we have that bought this product, or what was the last price that we priced this product for, and then you can even make it public facing if you want, so that, customers can ask questions about products or pricing or quoting or whatever. And it's using your data to generate that, generate the responses. I think that's also hugely helpful.
That's really interesting. I guess I would be a little bit nervous about important proprietary data somehow getting in there. I guess you'd have to be careful about that.
All of it is, I'd be nervous about all that. There's privacy issues. There's, yeah, I get it. There's hallucinations. It's going to get maybe the wrong data given. I just think that, if you're the right kind of person, you'd be testing it out and leaning into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's really good stuff.
All right, last topic. Last week in the Morning Report, I highlighted a story that the most expensive cheesesteak in Philadelphia now costs $140. It's served by a restaurant called Barclay Prime that, if I'm not mistaken, is about 3 feet from where you live.
I was just going to tell that story as well. So, if anybody wants to, come and attack me and strangle me or hit me in the face, look for me at around 10 o'clock at night walking my dog near Barclay Prime, because I live just a block away, and I walk the dog around the outside of Rittenhouse Square and down Spruce Street, and I pass by Barclay Prime.
And do you occasionally stop in and grab a $140 cheesesteak?
That's my point. First of all, I'm fascinated by Barclay Prime. I always look to see who's going in and out of Barclay Prime, because first of all, I'm like, I want, some celebrities go there all the time because it's like the most, well-known steakhouse in the city. But also it's like, I'm looking at these people saying, what morons are going to Barclay Prime and paying like $100 for a steak and $16 for a potato? Like, you got to be like, who are these people? So I get a good laugh to myself at that as I walk by them and, go home and, eat my cheesesteak. But anyway, so they have a $140 steak sandwich, which is, it's marketing. It's great. I mean, it's such a great idea. Who's going to buy a $140 cheesesteak? I mean, they're not going to make any profits off of it.
I don't know. According to the story, it's the third most popular thing on the menu. That
surprised me. Okay. I mean, that even validates my point that there are morons that are going to eat at Barclay Prime. It's not enough that they're spending $100 on a 4-ounce filet mignon. Now they're spending $140 on a stupid cheesesteak. They're idiots. But okay, so people like this.
Let me read the description. The cheese is now Cooper Sharp, the darling of better cheesesteak shops everywhere. The chef now pan roasts the foie and blends it into brandy-laced veal sauce, which glazes the beef and cheese. It's finished with a drizzle of fried onion truffle cream and a generous grating of fresh black truffle. So it's not just another cheesesteak.
No, obviously it's not. But you know what? It's I guess the whole theory behind this is I think it's just great marketing. I mean, you're trying to stand out among a lot of other overpriced steakhouses in the city. And this is a great way to do it by offering something that's very localized and over the top and ridiculous and getting people to roll their eyes and talk. But
which is kind of proved by the fact that you and I are talking about it right now.
That's exactly right. And I think it should be an inspiration if people are innovative and creative in their own marketing to come up with something that's, goofy and over the top and harmless and creates chatter. I was always told, and I'm sure you, Lauren, as well, were always told in the world of journalism that, you want to write something that's cocktail party ready, like a topic and a headline that people will talk about when they're out with their friends. Like, did you see that article on this? Can you believe it? And we all strive for that. And I think Barclay Prime did that with this because they're getting a lot of attention. So good for them.
I guess the other message with this is that it's you can't go wrong by asking yourself as often as possible, am I charging enough for whatever it is that I do?
Yes and no. That's your angle, and fair enough. My angle, though, is that I can't believe that they're making money off of this. I can't believe they have the volume to make money. You just told me it's the third most requested thing. So as usual, I'm probably wrong. But to me, it's like a loss leader that's more of a marketing expense than anything else. That's how I look at it.
It is amazing to think. I mean, you can get a very good steak. I mean, a real steak for less than $140 in Philadelphia. I don't know what one goes for at Barclay Prime, but for a cheesesteak, all right.
I know. It's pretty wild.
Anything you're working on this week that I should be looking out for, Gene?
Well, Lauren, for the Chicago Daily Herald, I will be writing
about $140 cheesesteaks.
I will be writing about these new EEOC rules that are causing all sorts of angst among my clients. Regarding harassment that your employees are receiving both in and out of the office, which might be your responsibility or not. So that is definitely one of the things I'm going to be focusing on. And the other thing I'm going to write about for Forbes is, because I've been writing about AI so much, is Google has delayed the release of their Gemini AI product. And I want to dig into when it finally does come out, like what impact it'll have on small business. Have you played it all with Grok? Twitter's new, they just released it last week. Okay. It's pretty funny. So
what should I know about it?
It's Grok is Twitter X's, whatever. It's their, response to ChatGPT, but it's based on Twitter's huge database. That's their large language model. So you can ask it questions and it will be using that large language model to try and come back with answers. And there's a real mode and there's a fun mode. And the fun mode is really fun because the fun mode starts making jokes and pokes fun at you and all of that. And it's funny. It's good. I know you're a big Elon Musk fan, so I'm sure you're going to try it right away. But
is there any reason to use that instead of ChatGPT?
No, actually, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I just started playing with it, so I'll report back to you whether or not I think it's better or not. I mean, I think ChatGPT has been fantastic. And I have the $20 a month version, the plus version, and I think it's excellent. You know what I mean? So
Gene Marks is a CPA who writes weekly on small business for The Guardian, The Hill, The Philadelphia Inquirer, The Washington Times, The Chicago Daily Herald, Forbes, and Entrepreneur. You can also hear him on ABC Radio's Eye on the World with John Batchelor. Gene hosts 2 small business podcasts with Paychex Corporation and The Hartford. And he actually runs a business along with all that, too. At least he claims to. This episode was brought to you by The Great Game of Business, which helps businesses use an open book management system to help build healthier companies. You can learn more at greatgame.com. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you, Lauren. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week, everyone.